There comes a moment in your life when the noise must stop, the applause must fade, the distractions must dissolve, and all that remains is the whisper of your purpose. You are not here to blend in. You are not here to be average. You are not here to simply exist. You are here for a transformation that is so profound, so deep, so powerful that when you walk back into the room, they won't even recognize you. This is not about showing off. It's about showing up. Not for the crowd, not for the critics, but for the calling that was placed in your soul before you were even born. Because when focus takes over, when your mind becomes a weapon and your will becomes a flame, everything changes. You've been playing too small, shrinking to fit into rooms you've outgrown, minimizing your fire so others can feel warm. But the season has changed. This is your cocoon season, a time to go in, to be silent, to break, to rebuild, to transform. And yes, it will cost you. You will have to lay down your excuses. You will have to bury your need for approval. You will have to kill the version of you that only survives through comfort. Because greatness is not built in public. It is carved in the dark, in the hours no one sees, in the moments when you feel like giving up, but grind anyway. When focus becomes your only friend, discipline becomes your twin, and the vision becomes your compass. There will be days you cry, days you scream, days you question if it's even worth it. And that's when you know you're close, because transformation is violent. It tears away the old to make space for the new. You will look in the mirror and not recognize yourself, but that's the point. The you that you've known must die, so the you that you're becoming can live. And don't expect everyone to understand. Some people only love the version of you that stayed small, that stayed silent, that stayed stuck. But this version, this focused, fire-breathing, disciplined version, oh, they won't know what to do with you. Let them go, let them talk, let them doubt. Because when the dust settles, when you walk into your destiny with power and purpose, they'll be the same ones asking, how did you do it? And you'll smile, not out of pride, but out of peace, because you know what it took. The hours, the pain, the isolation, the unrelenting focus. You didn't just survive. You didn't just improve. You transformed. So get ready. Lock in. Tune out the noise. This is not the time to be distracted. This is not the time to play. You are on the edge of becoming someone unrecognizable. Your future is screaming for you to focus hard. And when you emerge, no one will recognize you, but you will finally recognize yourself. There is something sacred about silent transformation. When you make the decision to change, not for attention, not for applause, not for validation, but for your destiny, something shifts in the atmosphere. You don't need to announce it. You don't need to post about it. You don't need to parade your process, because real growth doesn't beg to be seen. It happens in the stillness. It happens in the quiet. It happens when nobody is watching. When everybody else is distracted, chasing noise, fame, and flashes, you're in the dark, grinding, shaping, sharpening yourself into something the world has never seen. You see, people often confuse stillness with stagnation. They assume if they don't see motion, there's no progress. But a seed doesn't sprout above ground the moment it's planted. No, it wrestles in the dirt. It cracks open in the dark. It pushes against the pressure of the soil long before it ever sees the light. That's what your silent transformation looks like. And if you focus hard, if you stay committed to that process, what you become will be so powerful, so rooted, so unshakable that even those who doubted you will have to stand back in awe. But it's in that silence where the real battle begins. That's where the old version of you screams the loudest. It tries to pull you back into old habits, old thinking, old comfort zones. Because growth is uncomfortable. The process is painful. And when you start shedding who you were to make room for who you're becoming, everything in you will want to run back to what feels familiar. But focus is what carries you through. Focus is the bridge from who you are to who you're meant to be. It blocks out the noise, the fear, the opinions. It locks your eyes on what matters and refuses to let you quit. And understand this, not everybody is going to see the work you're doing. They won't see the late nights, the early mornings, the tears, the loneliness, the doubt. They won't see the inner war you're fighting every day. And that's okay, because this part of the journey is not about being seen, it's about becoming solid. It's about building the kind of foundation that can't be shaken when storms come, and they will come. But when they do, you won't bend, you won't break, you'll be ready. Not because you were loud, but because you were focused. So don't despise the quiet season. Don't rush the process. Don't crave visibility before you've developed durability. Stay in the dark until the transformation is complete. Because when you finally emerge from that silence, when you step out with clarity, strength, and purpose, they won't even recognize you, and that's the goal. To grow so deeply, to transform so thoroughly, that the old you is untraceable. Keep your head down. Keep your heart pure. And above all else, focus hard. Talent can get you in the door, but discipline is what keeps you in the room. So many people waste their potential because they never develop the discipline to match their dreams. They have the gift, but they don't have the grind. They've got the vision, but no structure. And the truth is, if you can't discipline yourself, your destiny will always be delayed. Talent may give you a head start, but discipline is what separates the ones who start from the ones who finish. Discipline is doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like doing it. It's saying no to the temporary in order to say yes to the eternal. It's waking up early when your body wants more sleep. It's putting in the reps when you see no results. It's staying focused when distractions pull at you from every direction. And this kind of discipline isn't glamorous. It won't get likes. It won't get praise, but it will get results. Because the work you do in the dark will shine in the light. We live in a culture that celebrates flashes of brilliance, but ignores the years of consistency. But you're not called to impress, you're called to endure. And endurance is built in the trenches of routine. You become powerful when you stop relying on motivation and start relying on discipline. Motivation is emotional. It comes and goes. But discipline is a decision. It says, I made a promise to my future and I won't break it for my feelings. You have to understand, every time you push through resistance, you gain something. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you're making a deposit into your character. You're building a mindset that says, no matter what it looks like, I keep going. And let me tell you, that kind of mindset will take you places talent never could. Because eventually the ones with pure talent will burn out if they don't train their will. But the discipline, they become unstoppable. It's time to fall in love with the process, not just the promise. It's time to stop chasing emotions and start building habits. Because the ones who rise, the ones who transform, the ones who become unrecognizable, they didn't get there by chance. They got there by choosing structure over sloppiness, clarity over chaos, and focus over feelings. You may not be the most gifted. You may not be the most experienced. But if you outwork, outlast, and outdiscipline the rest, you will arrive. And when you do, they won't believe the version of you standing in front of them. Why? Because they only remember the version of you that had potential. But this version, this disciplined, focused, transformed version, this is who you were always meant to be. And the road there isn't paved with talent. It's paved with daily, consistent, relentless discipline. Focus hard, keep going, let your discipline do the talking. There's a strange truth about elevation before it lifts you. It isolates you. We don't like to talk about that part. We love the idea of rising, of being celebrated, of walking in power and authority, but what we don't realize is that every promotion comes with a period of separation. You cannot carry everyone where you're going. You cannot take every opinion, every distraction, every comfort zone with you into your next level. Some doors only open when you're alone. Some versions of you are only born in isolation. This is not punishment, this is preparation. Because in isolation, your ears get clearer, your vision gets sharper, your identity gets settled. You learn the sound of your own voice. You stop asking for permission to be great. You stop trying to please everyone, and you start focusing on what truly matters. It's in the silence when nobody is clapping that you begin to find your rhythm. You begin to know who you are without the crowd, without the applause, without the affirmation. And yes, it hurts. People you thought would walk with you forever start pulling away. Conversations get shorter. Invitations disappear. You start noticing the shift, not just in others, but in yourself. And you wonder, why am I feeling so disconnected from everything I used to love? That's because you're not who you used to be. Your spirit is moving ahead even while your surroundings stay the same. And what used to entertain you, what used to comfort you, no longer feeds you. That's not confusion, that's growth. Some of the greatest breakthroughs are born in the wilderness. Think about it. Every major shift in a person's life comes after a season of being hidden. Hidden from recognition, hidden from understanding, hidden from celebration. But while you're hidden, you're being refined, you're being shaped, you're being tested. Can you be trusted with power when no one is watching? Can you stay focused when no one is cheering? Can you stay faithful when you're forgotten? Elevation without isolation creates instability. Because if you rise too fast without the internal strength to sustain it, the same people who praised you today will pull you down tomorrow. But when you've been in the wilderness, when you've endured the silence, when you've trained in the dark, your roots go deep. And when your roots are deep, the wind can't move you. The pressure can't break you. The critics can't shake you. So if you feel isolated right now, don't resist it. Lean into it. Don't try to rush out of the season. Use it. Let it strip you. Let it strengthen you. Let it draw you closer to your purpose. Because when the time comes and you rise into the fullness of who you are, the ones who left won't recognize you. And that's exactly the point. You were never meant to stay where they left you. You were meant to rise, focused, prepared, transformed. So embrace the silence. Focus hard. Because isolation always comes before elevation. Vision is a fire that will not tolerate divided attention. It is a sacred picture of a future reality, and it demands your undivided gaze. The moment you compromise that gaze, even for a second, you dilute the power of what you see. Distraction will try to flirt with you, seduce you, overwhelm you, feed you dopamine and applause. But you must look it dead in the eye and say, not today, because vision only manifests through ruthless focus. That means pruning every branch that doesn't bear fruit, silencing every voice that questions the promise, and canceling every appointment that does not propel you closer to destiny. It means deleting the apps, closing the tabs, ending the conversations that drain your energy instead of fueling your mission. It means learning that no is a complete sentence and not now is a shield for your tomorrow. Ruthless focus rearranges your priorities. It shifts your calendar, reorders your friendships, restructures your finances, and recalibrates your habits. It wakes you up before dawn, not out of obligation, but out of revelation, because your future is too bright for you to sleep through its preparation. When everyone else is binge, watching highlights of somebody else's victory, you are rehearsing your own. When others settle for average, you train for extraordinary. And every day you train, the vision sharpens. The colors get brighter. The details come into focus. You begin to taste the victory before you touch it. And that taste is enough to pull you through the toughest nights. But focus is costly. It will ask you to sacrifice comfort for progress, popularity for purpose, convenience for conviction. People will misunderstand you. They will label you obsessed, arrogant, antisocial. Let them. Obsession is merely focus misunderstood. Arrogance is the accusation, the insecure hurl at the committed. Antisocial is the name mediocrity gives to those who schedule their solitude. Do not apologize for protecting your vision. You owe no one an explanation for locking in on what God placed in your spirit. If they can't see what you see, they will never understand why you move the way you move. Ruthless focus also means mastering the art of selective ignorance. You cannot afford to know everything that is trending, every controversy, every rumor. The mind only has so much bandwidth, and vision requires every megabyte. Refuse to let your destiny lag because you were buffering everyone else's business. Instead, download discipline, Install consistency and update your mindset daily. Feed your faith with books, mentors, prayer, and silence. Guard your gates, eye gate, ear gate, heart gate, like a watchman at the city wall. For whatever gets through those gates will either fuel your vision or infect it. And here is the promise. If you remain ruthless in your focus, the day will come when you step onto the stage of your calling, fully prepared, fully equipped, and fully unstoppable. The doubters will be stunned, the critics silenced, and the complacent convicted. But you will not be surprised, because you saw this day long before they ever believed it possible. There's a price attached to becoming everything you were created to be. And part of that price is losing people along the way. It's not because you're bitter. It's not because you're cold. It's because purpose has a weight to it, and not everyone is built to carry it with you. You will find that the more you focus, the more you grow, the more you separate from who you were, the more people around you will start to shift. Some will distance themselves, others will become uncomfortable, and a few may even turn against you, not because you changed for the worse, but because you changed for the better. When you begin to rise, you trigger something in people. Your discipline reminds them of their excuses. Your focus exposes their distractions. Your hunger for purpose becomes a mirror, showing them what they could be but chose not to become. And that's a heavy truth. Some relationships can only survive when you stay at a level that makes others feel comfortable. The moment you step into the fullness of who you are, some of them won't clap. They'll criticize. They'll question you. They'll try to tether you to your past because your growth threatens their complacency. But here's the revelation. You don't need everyone to go with you. You don't need everyone to believe in you. Purpose is not a group project. It's a personal assignment. And sometimes walking in purpose means walking alone. That doesn't make you heartless. It makes you focused. That doesn't make you selfish. It makes you aligned. Because what you're carrying cannot be watered down for the sake of comfort. You're not chasing popularity. You're chasing destiny. Yes, it will hurt when they walk away. Yes, it will sting when you realize the ones who are closest to you can't handle your transformation. But don't let that pain pull you back. Let it push you forward. Let it remind you that every time you let go of what was, you make space for what is meant to be. Let it remind you that your future is far too important to be negotiated by the opinions of those who never had the vision to begin with. And here's what's beautiful. You will lose people, but you will gain clarity. You will lose support, but you will gain strength. You will lose familiarity, but you will gain focus. And the people who are assigned to your destiny, they will recognize you even after you evolve. They won't be intimidated by your growth. They'll be inspired by it. They won't try to pull you down. They'll lift you higher. That's how you know they're aligned with your purpose. So don't fear the loss. Don't fight the separation. Let what needs to fall off, fall. Let who needs to leave, leave. Because when it's all said and done, you will walk into your calling lighter, stronger, and more focused than ever. And the ones who couldn't recognize you through your growth were never meant to witness your glory. Focus hard. Keep walking. What you gain is worth far more than what you lose. There will come a moment after the discipline, after the sacrifice, after the lonely nights and silent battles, when you will walk into a room and even your reflection will feel like a stranger. Not because you've become someone else, but because you've finally become who you were meant to be all along. And in that moment, the people who thought they knew you, who defined you by your past, who measured you by your mistakes, they won't recognize you. And that's the confirmation that your transformation was real. This isn't about proving anything to anyone. It's not about revenge or validation or showing them what they missed. This is about the fulfillment of vision. This is about the manifestation of a version of you that only existed in prayer, in hope, in deep places where only you and God could see it. They didn't see the nights you cried and still kept going. They didn't see the internal war, the crushing pressure, the pain you disguised with a smile, but you kept pressing. You kept building. You kept showing up to the process even when nothing made sense. And now the results speak for themselves. Your posture will change. Your language will change. Your energy will change. Not because you're pretending, but because elevation has a language of its own. Focus has a frequency. Clarity carries weight. And when you've been through the fire and didn't burn, when you've walked through storms and came out stronger, something shifts in your spirit. You no longer settle. You no longer chase. You no longer seek applause. You know who you are. And that quiet confidence will confuse people who only understood the version of you that was unsure, inconsistent, or broken. There's a reason the transformation had to be private, because had they seen the process, they would have tried to interrupt it. They would have tried to talk you out of it, pull you out of it, distract you from it. But the silence protected you. The isolation refined you. And now you walk with a grace that's been earned, not given, a strength that's been forged, not borrowed, a presence that doesn't need to be announced. It commands attention simply by entering the room. And yes, some people will be uncomfortable with who you've become. They'll question it. They'll gossip. They'll pretend they don't see you. Let them, because you didn't become this version of you for them. You did it for your assignment. You did it for your legacy. You did it for the call on your life that refused to stay buried any longer. So when they whisper you've changed, don't shrink, smile, nod, and keep walking. Because the truth is, you were never supposed to stay the same. You were designed to evolve. You were born to rise. And now that you have, the world may not recognize you, but for the first time, you will recognize yourself. And that right there is the reward of focus